Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we have some cruise news. We have a country saying, you know what, your limitations on cruise ships, we don't think we can do it because we think it might be illegal. We have a passenger who snuck a handgun on board one cruise liner, and yeah, all the ramifications from that. We have a cruise ship that broke away from its moorings right when disembarkation was happening, which could be very, very dangerous. And we also have a cruise line that's saying, you know what? Those ducks you like to hide around on cruise ships that everyone likes, yeah, well, sorry, not on our cruise ships. First off, let's talk about those ducks. You know, cruise ship ducks, people like to hide them around the cruise ship, and usually they have a message on them that'll say, congratulations, ooh, you found a duck and everything. You can keep it or even maybe re-hide it for somebody else to find, and it's kind of like a game that people like to play. Well, one cruise line, Disney Cruise Line, has said, yeah, please don't bring ducks on board and hide them around the ship. Now, normally people don't hide them in intrusive places or anything like that. They just put them in a very common area, like on a railing of stairs on the way down the stairs for people to find. But Disney apparently does not want them on their cruise ships. Maybe they're just trying to keep, you know, Donald Duck as the only duck on their cruise ships. I don't know, it's kind of a weird policy, but all right. The Norwegian Prima in Galveston, Texas, while disembarking around 7 a.m. in the morning, started breaking her mooring lines and started to break away from the dock. Now, disembarkation had already started, people were already getting off the ship, but it was immediately stopped, and while they reattached some new mooring lines and secured the ship. The good news is also, you know, when those moorings break, they can snap and like hit people. It can be deadly. And the good news is most of the dock workers were away from the area at the time and nobody was around, so there was no injuries. Also, you know, you have the ramps going on and off. If the ship pulls away from there, they could drop down, etc. None of that happened. The good news is they were able to correct it immediately and then restart the disembarkation process. And then the people getting on because of that delay, getting on for their next cruise, only were delayed slightly. It wasn't an overall mess. Could have been much, much worse. So we got away with some pretty lucky news there. We also have now, in Spain has come out, the government there in Spain has come out and says, we don't think that we can limit cruise ships based on tourism and, you know, what kind of fuel they use, etc. We don't think that's legal to do. Now, a lot of countries are coming out and saying, you know, we have over tourism, we have this, and, you know, places say we're only going to let people in who have environmentally friendly fuel, etc. But nowhere in the laws and the regulations are these actually in place to allow some places to do this. And that's why there's a lot of court battles going on right now. And the Spanish government has literally just come out and said, I don't think this is legal. I don't think we can do this. And now that sparked a lot of controversy as we have different areas talking about limiting cruise ships or saying you have to have this certain fuel, you know, better fuel system like LNG than the fossil fuel. In other words, nobody really knows yet. People try and make these rules without understanding the consequences and even the legality in some cases of being able to do it. So we will see what this now brings out in Europe, and if more places will start to follow suit, or if we're just going to see dozens and dozens and dozens of more law cases going forward as cruise lines and public and governments, etc., all fight each other over this kind of stuff. We will see. Well, next I have a story about a person who was deemed as unstable and uncooperative sneaking a handgun onto a cruise ship past security. But before I get there, let me just invite you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you want to keep up to date with everything going on in cruising, from what's happening in the news with your current ships, with the new ships coming online, with all the port things that are changing. There's so much going on in cruising. It changes every day, and stuff you need to know, including tips and tricks that might make your next cruise just a little bit cheaper or even a little bit smoother and have much more amazing time like we all hope we do when we go cruising. Doesn't cost a single thing, but really does help the channel out, and I really do appreciate it. Okay, let's talk about a woman who snuck a 9mm handgun fully loaded onto a cruise ship. The cruise ship was Margaritaville at Sea, and the security company has now been put on notice by the cruise port and the cruise line. Wiser Security Services are the ones who were operating. Now, normally when you're leaving, the people who are operating are private companies. It's usually not the cruise line. They hire a third party and they look after the security and everything of people getting on and off the ship. When you get back, though, that's border control, border protection, and that's customs that are there to greet you and make sure you get through security. And that's when the woman was discovered, because she had to place her handbag through a metal detector, and that's when the gun was discovered. And she was also, she wasn't arrested, but the gun was confiscated, and during the talk, they deemed her basically an unstable and uncooperative person. What that means, I don't know. Maybe she just was freaking out because they were taking her gun and she didn't believe, and they called that unstable. I don't know. Obviously, if you're trying to take her gun, she's going to be uncooperative. She doesn't want you to do it. But the big question is, how did they get this on board? And that's exactly what the cruise companies and the cruise ports want to know. So much so that they said, you better come up with a game plan and a work plan right now to correct this. Also, we're going to be now monitoring all of your work processes going forward. And by March 7th, we're going to make a decision on whether or not you should be retained, or whether we should let you go because you're not doing the job. And yeah, that is a pretty scary proposition, because every cruise I've ever been on, we have to put our stuff through metal detectors. How do you not spot a gun? I mean, toy guns are caught a lot of the times. How do you not spot a gun in the metal detector? Are you not paying attention? Are you not doing your job? And how many times do you see a bar fight or something happen, an argument and everything? I just covered a story where a guy was charged by the FBI because he was in an argument with somebody in the theater when somebody told him to be quiet because he kept talking all the way through, and he takes a bar glass and he smashes it in the person's face. Now imagine if he had a gun. That person wouldn't just have lacerations, he would have been shot. And maybe, who knows, other people around as well. Yeah, completely unacceptable. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.